Good morning, everyone. Welcome to presenting at the 2015 National Service Learning Conference. We're really excited to have you joining us this morning and even more excited for you to be presenting at MPT 15. My name is Jason Stewart. I'm the Conference and Events Planner here at NYLC, and with me is Marcus Penny, our Web Communications Manager. And so if you have any questions along the way, we will be the ones helping to answer those. The goals of our webinar today are just to give a brief overview of the National Service Learning Conference and to provide you with any important logistical information for your workshop. We're going to talk a little bit about past feedback from participants, things they do and do not like about their conference workshop experience. And at that point, you're welcome to also, if you've presented with us before or at other conferences, to help provide feedback and ideas as well. And then we'll talk about some ways that you can stay connected after the conference is over. So to get us started and to make this more of a community, we'd love if everyone in their chat box could type in your name, your organization, your state, and then just a brief couple word description of your workshop, if you'd like. Again, just make sure that you're sharing with all participants. So it looks like we've got a lot of people with us. We've got Benedict Hung, Joe Fullman, Kristen Kiner, Sue Wrangler-Pett, who is with Iona College, New Rochelle, New York. Marcus Penny, of course, that's with us from NYLC, will be presenting on the Generator School Network. Sarah McCammont from Sarah's Community Project in California will be doing a workshop on authentic youth engagement. We've got Abby from Atlas Corps in DC. Stephanie Joloff from Ridgemont FFA in Ohio doing safe driving across the curriculum in a high school. Joe Fullman, who I mentioned before, is from George Washington University presenting a study about international and domestic college students doing joint service learning. Madison Marks representing Qatar Foundation International, whose students will be presenting a number of workshops at the conference. We've got Abby from Minnesota, who is excited to see some Minnesota people in the webinar. Megan Thomas from Belton Service Learning, who will be presenting 3 different workshops with her peers. Rachel Klein from New York in the Riverdale Country School, bringing students to present on student-driven praxis. Linda Baird, Center for Court Innovation in New York, speaking about police-teen dialogues. Benedict, who I mentioned earlier, from the Canadian International School in Hong Kong, is presenting on CAS Week at his school. Anna Kassinger from the Museum in DC, teaching students to be citizen journalists. And Jonathan Diaz from First 5 LA, doing community-based action research. So if we missed anyone, again, feel free to keep on typing in the chat box so that everyone can see. We've got David Beatty, Youth Volunteer Corps, Kansas City. Arwe Boker from NYLC, co-presenting with our Youth Advisory Council members from NYLC on the achievement gap. And we'll let you keep typing. Susan Abravanel from Washington D.C. presenting on Summer Trek. So if we missed anyone, again, put it in the chat box for everyone to see. But we are going to move forward with the webinar just to respect your time. Just some info about NYLC and the work that we do here beyond the conference. We work in 3 buckets of work. We develop young leaders, we support educators, and we work to advance the field of service learning. So all of these 3 things kind of really work in tandem to support each other. And so the conference is a place really where we're looking to advance the field. by supporting educators and developing young leaders together, and that is where you come into play to help us do that. To speak specifically about the upcoming conference, we've got some special events happening again this year. So this will be our second year in Washington, D.C., which we are so excited about. Last year we hosted a Hill Day, which you're seeing on the screen. And it was a really great opportunity for about 250 of our participants to go to Capitol Hill to meet with their representatives and to really discuss the service learning work happening in their communities. And we'll be doing the same event again this year. So on Wednesday, April 8th, attendees are welcome to go to the Hill and meet and discuss those issues. There was a Hill Day webinar yesterday that was recorded. So if you're participating in Hill Day and you're interested in learning more, we can get you access to that information as well. Another special event this year is our Service Learning World Forum, Beyond Borders, Beyond Boundaries. This is an event that isn't new to the National Service Learning Conference, but we've not hosted it in quite a few years. So this year it'll be on Wednesday, April 8th. It's a full day activity for participants, and we've got a lot of great speakers, a lot of great workshop sessions from organizations and folks from all around the world, as well as a global cafe that Catherine Berger-Kay and James Toole will be leading. So we're really excited to be bringing this session back. And then capping off the other end of the conference, we will be hosting our Day of Service. So this is our fourth year hosting a dedicated Day of Service time. You'll see in the photos last year, we brought attendees to the National Mall. You'll see the Lincoln Memorial in the background, and we brought community projects to the mall for attendees to participate in, which was really exciting, really engaging. But this year, we wanted to really to serve the community in a more powerful way, as we are more powerful together this year. And so we'll be sending our participants out into the DC community to do different projects. So we're working with the Capital Area Food Bank. We'll be volunteering at the National Mall doing work with the Cherry Blossom Festival. We'll be volunteering with students at the Cesar Chavez School, as well as a few other projects. So if you're interested in participating, when you registered for the conference, it would prompt you to register for the Day of Service. And then on site, you'll actually select which project you will be attending. And then just some highlights about the conference in general. This year we have 55 different organizations or schools or students that are showcasing their quality service or service learning projects from around the world. So make sure to check out the showcase. It'll be located in the exhibit hall of the conference, and it's a really exciting place to get ideas and to really learn from experts and students that have done really amazing work in their communities. We'll be continuing to do on and off-site service projects. So the off-site piece would come on Saturday with that Day of Service, and then we'll have on-site opportunities in the hotel. And then all of you come into play with our 145 workshop sessions. So lots of professional development offerings for conference participants. We've got plenary sessions going on again this year, so both Thursday and Friday we'll be inviting a number of different speakers to come to the conference and to speak to the whole conference audience. It's a great time for our whole community to come together and celebrate service learning. We're going to share our desktop with you so that we can show you on our conference website just a quick introduction of who those speakers are this year. So when you go to the conference website, I'm sure you've all been there to submit your workshops, but under schedules and highlights, speakers and youth MCs is where you would find all of our current plenary speakers, award winners, youth MCs. So we're not going to read through all of them for you, but we'll just slowly kind of scroll down and you can take a look at some of the great folks that you'll be hearing from during the conference. And some of these people will be speaking solely on the plenary stage. Some of them will be speaking as part of the World Forum. Some of them will also be presenting workshops. So a number of different ways you can engage with these folks. Some of these people will be performers. So on the screen you're seeing the Wat Thai Mathis and dance group. They'll be performing in the exhibit hall. And then, of course, one of my favorite parts of our conference is the great youth MCs that we can recruit every year to help keep the flow of the conference going. So please look forward to all of these great speakers. I know that I am. And now we just have some photos of some of our past conferences. So this would be a plenary session. We've got our on-site projects happening again this year. So this year, some of the projects we'll be participating in will be making dolls, making coin maps, making fleece blankets. We've got a healthy living project. We've got an art project. So lots of great things to participate in the exhibit hall at the conference. This year, we again will have lots of great networking opportunities. So we've got our Service Learning Young Professionals gathering that'll happen in Harry's Pub, as well as our Service Learning Coordinators reception. So please look forward to those opportunities. We've got the exhibit hall this year. The exhibit hall is open for a little bit less time than in the past if you've been to the conference before, but I think that it'll still be a really exciting place for attendees. So the exhibit hall is really home to many of the meals. It's home to the on-site projects. We've got a lot of really great and interesting organizations exhibiting this year, so make sure to take some time to go there and learn from the organizations that we have. The exhibit hall will be home to some different performance groups again this year, as well as the plenary stage. We'll have some cool performers on the plenary stage as well. Sheridan from our youth council that's actually in this webinar will be performing on the plenary stage, so we're really excited for that. The showcase, as I mentioned earlier, will be again set up. That's also in the exhibit hall, and it, again, it's a great way to learn from students and the projects that they're doing. Adults are also participating, so take note, take some time to go around and greet all of the showcase participants. We've got some great offerings for youth again this year. In the evenings, we will be offering our youth room. So on Thursday night, we're doing a 50s movie night. So we'll have some great 50s movies playing, lots of great icebreakers and networking opportunities for the youth. And then on Friday, we are doing an 80s dance party, which I am personally super excited for. So yeah, it's a really great place for young people to come together at the end of the night and to network and to just have their own space. And then to get into a little bit more specifically your workshops. So the workshops really do take up the vast majority of the conference. This year we have 8 concurrent workshop sessions, so 8 different time slots that workshops are being offered that all of you are helping to participate in. And this year we've really tried to scale back the number of workshops a little bit, so instead of having 25 or 26 workshops happening at once, we've cut it back to 15 or 16 to give attendees a little less of a burden when trying to decide what to attend. So hopefully your workshops will be nice and full of really engaging attendees. In terms of logistics for your workshop, this is kind of a photo of a past workshop room and what you can expect. So workshop rooms are set in rounds. You're welcome to move things around in your workshop space. However, we ask that at the end of your session, you do reset the room so that the next presenter is ready to go. We found that we've got a really flexible attendee base at the conference. So if you're looking to move your workshop room around for something, don't be afraid to ask attendees at the end of the session to help you put the room back in order. Most likely they're not going to say no. We've got a really helpful group of people that attend our conference. Everyone loves service, right? So make sure to ask for that, as we have a pretty short transition time between sessions. Some things that you can expect in your workshop room are a screen, an LCD projector, sound capability for your laptop or DVD player, and this year we're excited to have complimentary wireless internet. So we will be able to give out that wireless password a little bit closer to the conference so that you all have that and know how to connect. And then things that you are responsible for bringing would be your own laptop to meet PowerPoint and CD needs. If you're using a Mac, please bring a dongle. If you're looking to do any group work using flip charts and markers, we ask that you bring that. And there are equipment rentals available at the Marriott at your own cost. So just keep that in mind too. If it seems like something comes up and you need to rent something, I'm happy to help connect you to the Marriott to fulfill that need.
We have a couple people who are joining us. They were kind of having some technical difficulties, which is bound to happen. We have Malcolm Fergal and Lauren Haynes. Malcolm is from the United Way of Frederick County, and Lauren Haynes is an MSW candidate at the University of Maryland in Baltimore. And they're presenting on the Summer Serve program. So welcome, Malcolm and Lauren. And sorry that you had trouble joining us today. And we just had one question that I think we can quickly answer. How much time is given for the transition between workshops?
So there are 15 minutes between workshop slots. So just keep that in mind when you're resetting rooms or decorating rooms and getting to your space to prepare. And then Joe has a great question. Do we need a cable to connect to the projector, or will it be provided? It will be provided. So you just need your laptop, yourself, and then that actually does bring us to the next slide. So great transition, Joe. Metro Connections is the group that we work with here at NYLC for all of our conferences, and they do all of our AV work for workshops. So they'll be the ones coming in, setting up your room in the morning for the whole day. Metro Connections will be offering audio-visual training for conference presenters on Friday, April 10th and Saturday, April 11th at 7 a.m. in Maryland A. So if you get to the conference and you're completely confused how to connect your laptop to the projector, any of those things, Metro Connections is there to help you. And if you have any questions during your workshop, if something's not working, please flag down a volunteer or NYLC staff member. Volunteers are graciously being provided to us by UPS. They'll be wearing brown UPS t-shirts. If nothing else, take some time just to thank them. They're being really generous with their time and helping us. And you'll also have a document on the podium in your workshop room that will have some speaker do's and don'ts, and we'll have an AV number listed on that document. So if something happens and you need help with any of your audiovisual, the number on that document is who you will call to get help as well. Just looking at a few questions here. A microphone will not be provided to answer Jonathan's question. Sue's question is, if we use Google Presenter, is the Wi-Fi all that we will need? And Sue, I will have to get back to you on that, because that is not something that I've used before. If anyone else happens to know how that works, feel free to ask.
And there will be sound for video, I believe. There is, just the regular like auxiliary plug-in just to put right into your laptop or iPad or whatever you may be using to present. So there is sound.
Yep, to answer Sarah's question about the microphones, our rooms are relatively smaller this year. So being in a hotel space allows us to have smaller workshop rooms in comparison to a convention center. So So we found that last year when we provided microphones, most of our presenters did not use them. Malcolm has a question about pictures for workshop descriptions on the website, and that is something that we have, Malcolm. So thank you for that. If you did not submit a photo when you submitted your workshop presentation back in October or September, and you'd like a photo to be on the mobile app, please feel free to still send that to me. I can still add that to our mobile app. Megan Burka from United Way has a question. What is the max number of participants in a workshop? Our largest workshop space, I would say, hosts about 100 to 115 attendees. Typically our workshops get anywhere from 15 to 40 attendees, I would say, based on the number of workshops and sessions and attendees' interest. So it really does depend, but I would prepare for a maximum of no more than 40 or 50 participants. Just some other workshop logistics. Every year we do like to provide some options for attendees to give feedback on your sessions. This year we've got 2 different ways that attendees can provide feedback to you, the presenter. On the mobile app, so the mobile app will house all of your workshop sessions. Attendees will be able to build their own schedules using the mobile app, and that mobile app will be available to all conference participants starting next week. So we'll be sending out an email to all conference participants with a link to download it with directions, and so they'll be able to start looking at your sessions and figuring out what they want to attend. But when they click on your workshop session, at the bottom of your workshop description, there'll be a place for them to answer 4 questions about your session that will then get sent to NYLC. Otherwise, we will have paper forms available, so if you prefer to have them fill out paper forms, we can do that as well, and volunteers will be delivering those to the workshop rooms. We just ask that at the end of your session, you leave any completed workshop surveys in the room so that our volunteers can collect them, NYLC can kind of take a look at the data, and then we're happy to send you those forms. And Susan asked if you can see the survey in advance of the session. Absolutely. I will attach, I'll be sending one final workshop email to all of you, probably the week before the conference, that has the password for the Wi-Fi. It'll have your final room location. So you've noticed none of your letters thus far have had room locations. So we will make sure that you have that, and we'll also include a link to the survey. Again, the mobile app will be live next week, so you'll be able to see those survey questions as well there. Rachel is asking about you all receiving feedback. Yep, so after the conference, after NYLC has been able to save that data, we use the data just in terms of deciding who can present at the next conference and what that feedback looks like, what our attendees are liking from our sessions. But after the conference, we will be happy to provide that feedback to you. I'll be sending a kind of a thank you email to presenters, and at that time you'll be able to request that feedback. So we don't want to keep you in the dark. We're happy to provide that.
And Benedict, to answer your question, the mobile app is available for any and all platforms. It's actually just more of a dynamic web page designed more so for mobile devices. So it's highly interactive and it's a really great thing. But yeah, it's going to be available for iPhone, Windows Phone, Android, anything, any tablet, or even a laptop or any personal computer. It's going to be accessible through either of those. It's not a specific Android or iOS app.
Yeah, we will. This year we are not doing a printed program guide. A lot of conferences that we've found in our bucket of work have stopped doing printed guides. However, we recognize that the app is not for everyone, so there are a few other ways that attendees will be able to access the workshop descriptions. So they can request a paper copy of the workshops at registration. We will have a limited quantity of just printouts of the workshops at registration. And then there are some sessions of the conference that will also have some kind of paper material to go with it, so our awards luncheon, our exhibit hall layout, things like that. So, and then also on outside of each workshop room is an electronic meter board that will list your workshop sessions on that board outside of your room, so that will help as well. Jonathan is asking, are we able to mail any material to the hotel instead of carrying it all with us? Absolutely. And I can provide that mailing information as well to you. So I will go ahead and send that mailing information to all attendees or to all presenters. Rachel has asked if we want to give our attendees a handout, can we? And do we make copies ahead of time? Yep. So we ask that you do make your copies ahead of time. There is a FedEx Kinko's located at the Marriott Wardman Park on the mezzanine level. So you are welcome if you forget to make your copies. That option is available on site. You're welcome to give handouts to your attendees. You know, I guess be mindful of the number of handouts you make. So again, I would expect anywhere from no more than 50 attendees probably in a workshop room. But yes, you are welcome to give whatever you'd like to attendees. And Malcolm's question, will we get a detailed agenda emailed to us before the conference? So currently our schedule at a glance, which shows when all of the workshops are, is listed on the website, and then the app really is that other place where all of the, as much of the schedule is available. So all the plenary agendas will be there, all of the on-site projects are listed there, all of the workshops are listed there. Malcolm's other question is, if we are only registered for the Friday, are there other events or activities open to us? So if you have registered for the one-day Friday pass, or for any one-day pass in general, you are available or allowed to go to any of the activities on that day. You do need to make sure that you've registered for that one-day pass and not the $50 presenter-only pass. If you've registered for the $50 presenter-only pass, that grants you access to your session, but that one-day pass gives access to all of the other workshops happening on Friday. Our awards luncheon happens on Friday, and then we've got some networking opportunities both in the morning for our networking roundtables and in the evening with some of our receptions. Are there any other questions at this time in relation to the logistics for the conference?
All right, and as questions come in, we will be sure to answer them for everyone. But we're just going to kind of jump ahead and give you some advice on basically, how to give a good workshop. And this is based on feedback we've gotten from attendees in the past. And these are a few of the things that attendees love: enhancing, networking, recharging, engagement, and authenticity. So to explain those, enhancing is really, no one really wants to go to a workshop and sit through something where it's like, yeah, I already know this, you're preaching to the choir. What you really want to be able to provide is something new, something they haven't heard before, a unique perspective, something that's, truly unique to you or to your service learning experience, so you can truly enhance the knowledge of your attendees. Essentially, what that's saying is, it's a fancy way of saying, they're coming there to learn something. And so just, rehashing things that kind of everyone knows isn't necessarily that helpful. So you really want to, find what makes your presentation unique. Why is it that they paid to come to this conference and, chose your workshop out of umpteen other ones that were going on at the same time? So you really want to make it worth it for people. Networking, the service learning field isn't the biggest field in the world, but the way that we, are as powerful as we are is by being more powerful together, kind of harkening back to the theme of this conference. So chances to network and get to know their peers and everyone else, other people that were in the workshop, as well as network with you, that's going to be a really valuable thing that they can take away from the workshop other than your presentation itself. recharging. They really want to kind of, you know, feel like they can go forward, you know, inspired to act and everything. And you want to give them ideas and things that they can take home with them. So, you know, so they can really feel, you know, recharged and rejuvenated and everything like that to attack service learning, you know, and attack the issues that they want head on, whether it's, you know, to end the school year strong or, you know, just start preparing to, you know, at the beginning of the new academic year to really kind of hit the ground running. They like engagement. You know, if you can have activities, things like that to get people off their feet, get people talking, it's going to be a lot better than if they're just sitting there, you know, with their eyes glazing over. Any sort of activity. And I know in workshops I've presented before about a website, the Generator School Network, that we'll talk about later, that NYLC hosts. You know, it could be pretty boring to just sit there and be like, oh, let me talk to you about a website. So instead we kind of run people through, like, this is what it actually is like to use the website, and, you know, sort of simulate scenarios of, you know, how we do what we're talking about. And finally, authenticity would be, you know, just be yourself. Be really, you know, true to who you are and be honest with folks. Like I said before, you know, it's a small field, and it's great to kind of, you know, get to know one another. And the best way you can do that is by being authentic and being honest about your failures just as well as your successes. Things that our attendees do not love is this kind of discrepancy between a description or a presentation. Perhaps at the time that you applied to be a part of this conference, you had this idea and you submitted this description for your workshop, and then as you developed your presentation, it kind of changed. Attendees are not crazy about that because they were sold on your workshop based on the description, and that's what they came there to learn. That's what they came there to hear about. So when you present on something that's different from what, you know, was essentially promised to them through the description, that's going to be kind of jarring and maybe disappointing for some attendees. They don't like unprepared presenters, and with that, late starts. I would say those two go hand in hand. You know, if you don't have the things ready to go, if you don't know your stuff, if you're not there, you know, our workshops are only an hour or 30 minutes long, respectively, and you know, it's a limited amount of time with a limited amount of time to get from place to place. And you know, people they've paid to get some, you know, professional development. They've paid to really learn from you, and if you're unprepared or having late starts, you know, they're kind of being robbed of that. So that's just really not fair to the presenters, or excuse me, to the attendees. They don't, our attendees do not love lectures, you know, just someone standing at the front of the room and just talking for the entire session. Like I said in the previous slide, you know, you want to have engagement. Any time to get other people involved is going to be better. You know, and a lecture usually isn't going to do it because, again, you're going to see those eyes glaze over. Canceling, it's just disappointing. I know anyone who does cancel, I'm sure doesn't want to, but canceling is something that our attendees do not love. You know, if they see your description for your workshop and they're really excited to attend it, and then they show up at the room and just to find out that it's not going on, you know, I don't need to hammer it in any further. No one's going to be happy about that. And show and tells, and that's really just kind of, I think, kind of ties into lectures a little bit. You know, you can show and tell about this is our service learning project and everything, and this is what we did, and that is not necessarily bad, but if it's not something that people can then, you know, glean something from and say, hey, you know what, now I have ideas on how I can take this home. Really, you want to go beyond the show and tell and say, this is how we did it, and, you know, here's some ideas on how you could do it. And maybe that's not you presenting those ideas, and maybe that's you really engaging your attendees and opening a discussion for part of your workshop to tackle that and really help develop those ideas on how you can replicate, you know, successful programs, initiatives, projects, what have you. And so those are a few of the things our attendees feel. We have a few questions here, I believe. I'm not sure. Susan said, I might suggest that if you have handouts that present a self-explanatory message, you might prepare extras. Often people are torn between two sessions and will drop in to pick up materials as they attend the other. That's a great idea. participants also love to have the time, however brief, to think about how your session really does apply to their practice. And that's something that can be aided, I think, yeah, by kind of a one-pager about yourself, about your program, about your workshop, or whatever it may be.
And Sue Pett has asked for one last review kind of what is available technologically to you. So the things that are available, again, are a screen, an LCD projector, sound capability for your laptop or DVD player, and the wireless. The only cords that you need to provide yourself, all cords are provided to you other than your own power cord for your laptop. If you think your laptop is going to die during the session, I would bring that for sure. And if you're using a Mac, a dongle. So any connector cords, any sound capability cords, any of those things will be provided. One thing I would say about the complimentary wireless internet, if you are going to show a video, or if you know that you're going to do something that maybe, you know, is really dependent on the wireless internet, I would consider saving it as a disk or bringing it as in some other form. Just knowing how many people will be at the conference and using the wireless at once. I just want everyone to be prepared and have that other option available to them. Rachel is asking, how do we know how long our workshop is? So if your session, when you submitted your workshop, if you submitted for an engaged learning session, that workshop is 60 minutes. If you submitted for a sharing success session, that workshop is 30 minutes. You'll see on the conference website, we're just going to share our desktop with you again for a few different things. On the conference website, the schedule, all of the workshop sessions on Friday and Saturday are where you're presenting. So if you are in sessions 1, 2, 3, 4 on Friday, or either of our Saturday sessions, your workshops are 60 minutes. The sharing success sessions are happening on Friday afternoon, and those are our 30-minute sessions. So just keep that in mind. And then we also, Marcus is going to talk a little bit about the Generator School Network and what that looks like for you in terms of sharing your workshops to the greater conference audience.
All right, since we're already sharing our browser, I'm just going to jump right into it. So this is the GSN, the Generator School Network. This is a project planning site and service learning online library. There's really a lot to it. But all that's going to concern you in terms of uploading your workshop information for attendees to use is under the plan section. So that's gsn.nylc.org/plan, and we can share this all out. So if you're not jotting your notes furiously enough, if you're not jotting notes at all, we will follow up with this information. So you go to gsn.nylc.org. Oh yeah, I suppose I should say before we get started, some of these pages, you know, you might get stopped and say, hey, you need to join first. So really what you want to do, as soon as you go to that home page I was just at, you actually want to go, before you go to the plan section, to the join section if you haven't joined already. Membership is free, and we don't spam you. We send one email a month, and that's it. And I write it, and I think it's pretty good. So at any rate, there are numerous benefits to being a GSN member, you know, so once you've joined and everything, you want to go to the plan section of the website, which you can find right from the top menu. We're going to ask that you create it as a project. So you click this button here, Generate Project. And again, you know, I might be going through this quickly. If you have any questions, we're going to repost our contact information. I'd be the person to ask if you have any questions on how to get yourself through the GSN. So we're going to be creating this project that's going to represent our workshop. So I'm actually presenting on the National Service Learning Clearinghouse at the conference next month. So I'm just going to kind of just click some fake options because I'm going to come back here and fix it later. So I'm not even actually looking at what I'm clicking right now. But you're going to want to choose your project tags, whatever might best describe you. Sometimes there might not be a perfect fit, but just you do need to select at least one, so just find the closest thing. You know, if you're interested in engaging you know, let's K through 12 service learning administrators, you know, you might choose some K through 12 schools or whatever it may be. If you're having a hard time choosing your subject or discipline, just find the closest match, and I can help answer questions on those. And I did kind of skip past it, but then you'll obviously want to include your project description right there. If there are any links to videos that are not on like a video service site like YouTube or Vimeo that you want to share, if you have any URL links, I would include the URL in your project description. And the project description would essentially just be the same description that is presented to you know, the conference team here, the same description that's going to be on the mobile app so people know they're looking for the same one. And once you've created it, once you've saved, it might actually try to jump you through this whole process here. And here it's actually not letting me save because I to be determined for my description. And at this point, it's actually going to want to push you through to our project planning tool, which is a pretty robust, interactive tool to help students and educators plan service learning projects, but that's not really going to be a worry of ours. So to get out of this and just get back to the main page, you want to go up to the top right to your profile, at which point you will see your workshop listed under your projects on the right panel here, the right sidebar. You can go back, and if I had entered a true description, it would have been here. If I had entered any URL links in that description, it would be listed on this page. But from here, you can add documents. So you can add your PowerPoint, you can add handouts, you can add follow-up documents, photos pertaining to your project or your work or whatever it may be, whatever you want. You can add photo galleries. And then videos, and these videos are not, if you have the file, unfortunately, this site is not set up to host those files, but if it is hosted on YouTube or Vimeo, like I said, this would be the place to share that video. And any discussions, anything, you know, follow-up or pre-conference things, whatever you may want to do, you can add those in discussions, and then any other GSN user would be able to join that. And why we like this the most is that on the left here, if you see shared with group, I can select the MPT15 group. These are all the groups that I, as a GSN member, am a part of. But the MPT15 group, and I can just click the button, Share Project. It'll take a minute for it to take. And now we've shared our project. So if you actually go in through the Connect section of our website, or even just find a little search bar and search the hashtag MPT15, you'll be able to find the conference group. And you can see right away at the top left, GSN Workshop, which is another one of my workshops that's already been shared here, and the Clearinghouse Workshop are now shared projects with this group. And the great thing about this conference group is that although servicelearningconference.org is updated and it has all the pertinent information, a lot of the engagement aspects, especially before the conference, if you want to get engaged with other presenters or with attendees, this is a place where we're welcoming people to go. So we have discussions and we have some documents that are useful to people before they come in. But by conference time, surely this whole sidebar is going to be full of not only your workshops as you've created as projects here in the GSN, but the workshops of many, many other presenters who weren't able to be with us here today.
Yep, so when you submitted your workshop proposal back in the fall or the late summer, one of the expectations listed in that proposal was that your workshop would be shared as part of the Generator School Network. And this is really because we want to create a larger community with our attendees. We know that, you know, unless we make the conference 3 weeks long, there's no way that our attendees can go to every workshop. And so as a way for attendees to get as much information as possible, we'd love for you to post your workshop information as well as your contact, any way that attendees can engage with you to ask questions and learn more from you. So this is a great place to do that.
All right, and I'm just going to type in real quick so that people know, so it's something clickable. the URL to find the GSN so that you can, even if you're not ready to start uploading your workshop, you can at least join today. We would love for that to happen.
And then here's just our contact information. So again, if you have any questions about the conference, the logistics, the anything not workshop related that you just want to know about the event that you can't find on the website or anything of that nature, there's my contact information. You've probably already heard from me more times than you would prefer anyways. And then if you have questions about uploading your information to the Generator School Network, please reach out to Marcus because he is the expert and I am not so helpful. And then you'll see at the bottom, our next slide is just our conference hashtag, so MPT15. So we welcome you to use that hashtag on any form of social media that you like to help market your workshop. And Malcolm, I will get back to you personally about that. Slide 30. Yep. So there again, Sue is our contact information. Are there any other questions that we can help answer? Rachel is asking about room setup. Is there any way that we can have a room without tables, just chairs in a circle? Unfortunately, due to the number of workshops that we have, all of the rooms are going to need to have tables in them. And so I would say just to come as early as possible, before your workshop, that 15-minute time slot, to help move some things around. I wouldn't say that putting tables in the hallway is an option, is a fire hazard, but just moving them to the side or putting them, folding them up and then replacing them. Sarah's asking the percentage of youth to adults as attendees. So typically, last year, for example, our attendance was 40% youth, 60% adults. So keep that in mind. When you submitted your workshops, you submitted options or attendee audience preferences or attendee audiences that you thought would be applicable to your workshops. Those are going to be listed on the mobile app. Not all attendees will use those, so if you said your workshop is for college students and higher ed faculty, you could get middle school students in your workshop, and that's okay. We don't want to limit our attendees to the sessions they attend. Those audiences that you listed were just suggestions, and we recognize that attendees are going to attend whatever is of interest to them. We do have 2 tracks of workshops this year that are kind of specific. So we have a rookie track for those attendees that are maybe new to service learning. All of those workshops will be held in Washington Room 5 and will be listed separately on the mobile app. And then we have a youth room series. So we've got another room dedicated to workshops that were selected by a youth committee of youth from around the country that picked workshops that were applicable to them and of interest to youth. Adults are, of course, welcome to attend those sessions, but just know that if you are bringing young people and they really can't decide where to go, that youth room is a great place to point them towards. Are there any other questions? If you have them, feel free to put them either in the chat box or email me directly, and I'm happy to help.
All right, we'll hang out for a few minutes if anyone has any questions that maybe they're still typing or anything like that we're still trying to think of, but otherwise I think that concludes us for today. So we'll still be on for a bit, but thank you everyone for joining us.
Malcolm has asked, are there any other webinars before the conference? We did have a Hill Day webinar that was offered yesterday, so there's a recording of that that can be made available. And other than that, there are no other pre-conference webinars at this time. But if you have any specific questions about conference features, feel free to send them my way via email, and I'm happy to help out. And Malcolm, I will also get back to you about your workshop listing. Moreland is asking, will the Wi-Fi be good enough that our participants can all go in at the same time? Moreland, our hope is yes. As we have this mobile app going, and we recognize that participants at our conference are often sharing things that they like about workshops via social media, via whatever platform they'd like. Our hope is that Wi-Fi is strong enough. Again, we have a whole conference that'll be using it at once, so I would prepare just in case for some other options for your workshops.
You can at least say that there are countless wireless routers, but that's still not a guarantee. So technology has that way of being your enemy when you need it to be a friend.